Welcome back to Football Coach. It's episode number 7. We're into our off-season mode, and coach development, of course, is going to be one of the big things if we continue to retain these young guys that we have in position. But of course, the head coach is going to develop more slowly, at least for a while we're losing, because the penalty for missing expectations is bigger for the head coach than it is for the coordinators. So he only gains 175 XP. But with a smaller penalty, roughly half, the coordinator's leveling up a lot faster, 588 experience gained. Our defensive coordinator has leveled up, matching now the level. They're both level 12 of our offensive coordinator. Recruiting, he's already got some training points. He's only a 4 on defense, but I mean, honestly, we're not too concerned about the fact that we're losing right now. Recruiting is the biggest priority, so we're going to put our point into there. And we get a new skill badge. There's your way to help what happens on the field. There's some really good skill badges to choose from that include some off-field stuff. We have increased development. We also have shortening injuries. We also have extra trainings during preseason. All of those are really handy. For me, easily the best choice for the on-field is going to be the fact that every defensive player would get a +2 tackling and pursuit across the board in games, which makes the team that much better all the time. Regardless, though, I think development is our biggest focus. So safety or linebacker. Well, I think more linebackers see the field than safeties, so I'm going to take the 7% increase to their development during the offseason. As much as I want that on-field boost and see a long-term benefit to it being there, we need development gains. 7%'s a pretty healthy boost. Well, it looks like we're going to actually save a little bit of money. So our yearly salary on our offensive coordinator is $350K. That contract is expiring. We're going to be able to re-sign him for another 2 years at $300K. So we actually save $50K there, and I'm hoping that the defensive coordinator, yes, exactly the same. I like it. Hold on, we could save even more money if we sign an extended deal, making it 4 years with a team lock. Means the coach cannot be fired until 2028. They can leave to another school, however. Okay, I am okay with that. We're gonna sign this $250K deal. And it looks like we can go ahead and save some money on the head coach as well, and I'm going to go ahead and do so. We're going to sign a 4-year deal with the head coach. I like the idea of developing the staff as well as the facilities, even though, yes, I know there's alternative ways that we could get better faster. I like the idea of taking these young guys and getting them better as we do the same kind of process along the way. It's just, it's not the smartest move we could make, but it's a logical move for the series and the direction we're going, to build from scratch, to build from nothing. I like the idea of developing the coaches as much as the players. So we're going to try to save some money, like $500,000, team lock for 2 years, but we'll sign this deal. One change I would like to make for this year is an aggressive zone. Really only works if you can get pressure on a quarterback, and we don't get pressure on a quarterback. We're going to switch to our head coach's main go-to of balanced man. We're going to stay in the 3-4, though. It was locking one guy or the other. In neither case did we have both. So we're going to go ahead and take what we have here. There were 6 coaches that retired this year, all in their mid to late 60s, and the league coaching changes are numerous. So at this moment, the coach integrity has jumped 5 points up to a 58. The NIL money, we did spend $1 million of that on Cody Warren, right? The title of the last episode. And we still have $2 million available for transfers for incoming. There are some options. Obviously, nobody's entering the draft. We do have a number of graduating players, but it's not like past years. It's really not, or past years. We've only done 2. It's not like the first year where we had, 19 of the 20 graduates were key players. Here, we're looking at, 11 of 12, definitely got playing time. But you have a couple guys here that didn't play, a few guys, really, that didn't play a lot. over the course of the season. We have a number of guys that were not key parts, and realistically, only 5 or 6 of them were on the better end. So we're not going to miss this group as much as the last. And our first look at transfers for the year includes 2 players opting to transfer out, down 1 from last year. I like that part. Only 2 guys trying to head out, a 78 overall lineman and a 75 overall wide receiver. We'll look into those 2 players here in just a second, and I'm certain that we'll be using at least our 3 cuts here. For the moment, we're at 80 scholarship players. So we have 73 remaining on roster, and we have plus 9 commitments so far, and then we have the 2 that are transferring out, which would bring us to 80. With the remaining targets that we have for the moment, they think we should get down to 77, meaning we should be cutting 3 players to make room for them. Not to say that we're necessarily going to get them. The offensive lineman is amongst the best players that we have. He's not great, but he is going to be good. He gave up 0 sacks this season and did have 15 pancakes, so he did pretty okay as a 78. We can imagine he'll be about an 80 next season. Not fantastic, but definitely amongst the best players we would have on roster. So certainly hope that we can convince him to stay, but he wants to win. We will lose 6 coach integrity if we don't win 3 games, or we can pay him some NIL money. Boy, that's $1 million for 1 year. That's a lot to keep a player around. That is a lot of money to keep a player around, and winning is just not that important for a guy who's about to be a senior anyway. $1 million, like if he was a sophomore and that quality, his potential is not great. He's not going to improve that much next year. I'm going to let this guy go. I get it. He wants to win. He's heading into a senior year. He hasn't won a football game in the last 2 years. We didn't exist the year prior, so he was in La La Land for that year. Like, he wants to win a football game. In our case, he literally just wants to win a few. He doesn't want to win a lot. He just wants to win a little bit. We can't offer that to him right now, and I'm not going to give up that $1 million for no reason. That comes out of our budget. That's $1 million out of the budget. It's not that we have $2 million to spend. No, this NIL money is starting to be more and more precious to me because of what it translates to. If we don't spend it, we get to reinvest that money into facilities, and long term, we need the facilities a lot more than I need this one player next year to make us that little bit better. It means I will be a little bit worse, but so what? The AD hates us. We're not winning games anyway. We've got a long ways to go, and next year is still not going to be the year. I think we're going to be more competitive, and with him, we would definitely be a bit more competitive, but without him, so what? The second player wanting out is the wide receiver, or a wide receiver. He's a redshirt freshman who played 7 games this year, but with the depth chart, the way it's headed, it's pretty clear that he who wants playing time should have no problem getting it. With the B+ potential, he's going to develop well. He'll probably be 4th on the depth chart. The new guy, the junior college experiment one we're bringing in, he'll get play time. He'll be down at the end of the list, but he'll get play time. He'll be a junior. I'm okay with him coming in for 2 years like that. I don't think it was a mistake. You can see actually behind him, there's a lot of guys who probably aren't going to be as good as he is. So he'll continue to be in the middle of the depth chart enough to get play time. Not a great signing, but not a terrible signing, I don't think. We'll find out in time, but for 2 years, I think it was okay. If he was a freshman with an F- potential, you'd worry about that. Eventually, you'd probably want to drop him as we get better. But I think we can give 25 targets. That's easy. I think that's pretty easy. He was only targeted 5 times this last season, but I think it's quite easy. I mean, these guys are moving up the depth chart. They were not at the top of the list, and they were targeted easily more than 25 times. This guy was targeted more than 25 times. He'll get his 25 targets. So now we're only losing 1. Here's a sad stat for last season. Our kicker, The one that we held on to, by the way, you only have one. You only have one kicker position. There is no separate punt position. They carry both skills, and that's it. That's a little weird, but okay, that's fine, I guess. Anyway, we only made 6 touchdowns all season and 6 field goals all season. That's it over 12 games. So we scored a total of 12 times, with 3 points or 7 points being the haul. Meaning we got exactly 5 points a game. 107 punts though. That's something we did frequently. Final list of outgoing players. So 5 cuts are being made, meaning I'm going to give up 2 integrity, essentially the integrity that I gained from keeping our promise with the kicker. So those 2 extra points we are spending so we can get 5 guys out of here. All of them are D or worse in potential. All of them are in the 60s for their quality. And then the one that hurts is our best offensive lineman, a 78 overall C+ potential guy who isn't going to develop drastically in the next season. I would very much like to keep him, but I'm just not going to spend over $1 million, and I can't promise him 3 wins because I'm pretty sure we're not going to get 3 wins next season. We might be better and be more competitive next season, but it's probably still going to be another 0-12 season. At best, we're probably looking at a 1-11 season. We're not going to get 3 wins. So promising him anything is only going to hurt the coach integrity, which we don't want to do. We are trying to build that up over time, and we'll spend a couple points at cleaning the roster out a little bit as opposed to trying to hang on to that guy. So it is a loss. One player lost. I'm going to accept it. Draft results, no 100 current overall players at the top of this list. In fact, none at all on the draft list. It's an Oregon linebacker who goes number 1 in the draft. Transfer portal will have 62 pages or 620 players added to it. There's a lot out there. This is a perfect signing for a team like us, except for it's a kicker, so we won't worry about that as much. 4 Hall of Fame inductees. 6 Ring of Honor inductees. Plenty of updates to the all-time record book. And the school record book definitely has some updates as well. We had a wide receiver with over 800. That's career record. This makes sense, right? You're going to build up a lot of these over the first 4 seasons or so. 89 catches, 148 targets. That's Sean Schultz leading the way with that. That's 2 seasons for him. A linebacker with 97 tackles over 2 years is not a great number. Randy Leslie getting the most tackles for loss and sacks over the 2 years. Muhammad set a record with 12 interceptions on the season, 1 per game. Jaden Davis did set a record for rushing yards, but it was only 500 on 186 attempts. And just 2 rushing touchdowns all season. 70 tackles in 1 season. That's a better number right there. Edgar Blackburn. Redshirt senior, though, so I guess he's heading out. On the team record side, the 85-ish rushing yards per game was a record for us. So we did move the ball on the ground better than last season, but it was a big target of ours trying to get the haul that we needed for the season. We just never ended up getting there. Total turnovers also a record. Our offense was really bad, so 18 turnovers on the season. Definitely not good, but it's actually not the worst number. It's really not as bad as it could be, but I think we had so many 3-and-outs that there just wasn't that many chances to turn the ball over as if you were moving the ball more frequently and not punting it away so often. And of course, with a terrible offense, the defense was under a lot of pressure. So even though our defense was better, we still gave up more yardage per game. Right now, we are actively targeting 7 players. We have 9 scholarships left, so we might have to prioritize something, as we're definitely going to now look into the transfer market and see what we can pick up to help make the team better in the short term. Of course, these high school players are one of the big keys to our long-term growth and development if we are going to get better. But there's a lot of potential here. I worry a little bit about the potential versus the current overall ability of these kind of guys down here. But for now, only 1 of the 7 has an offer from anyone else, and we're 1,000 points roughly behind Hawaii. And of course, at this stage during the offseason, it's all going to come down to that signing day. So we've got our, what is it? I think 3 sessions. Yeah, 3 stages of recruiting. So 3 sessions to get through on this one, and then we'll see what happens with those recruits. So after looking into the transfer market, of course, most of these guys don't want to play for us. They want to play for somebody bigger and better. But a lot of them, what they're interested in is they want to play. And they're going to be good enough to play for a number of programs that also have something else to offer besides just playing time. So we really don't have an advantage. I think we might have gotten 1 or 2 transfer sightings in that last class last year. Most of those additional signing day guys, the 10 that we got, I think at least 8 of them were just the end of our list offers that we had that just hadn't signed. But I've put a lot of offers out on some guys that we're just flat out not going to get. And we'll find out by next week just how far down the list we are compared to some others. But there's a few targets in there that maybe, just maybe, and any one of them would be a steal. Right now on my list, which has the maximum 40, I had 7 offers already out. But on that list, there's more than just the 7 guys that remain. That list goes down to number 18. So I've added 22 transfer targets. I have given an offer out to the majority of those transfer targets, but definitely not all. The linebackers in particular is a position where I'm still in a kind of hurry up and wait and see what happens with a number of them. But of the 22, I've got probably 13 or 14 offers that I just extended to a lot of guys that are probably way beyond our reach, like an 81 overall B+ potential kind of guy who would be a massive steal. But we'll start from there. We've got a couple weeks to look and see what happens with this market and how it shapes up. So week 2 and our transfer offers right now, none of them are us alone. And we are, of course, behind every single time. Now, we're not far behind, and maybe we can, go all in on a guy like this and catch up. But they don't have to commit as much to get the growth. They can make their pitch a lot easier, a lot more effectively. It's going to be hard to win. And if we're drastically behind, like here, this wide receiver, I'm not going to pursue this guy. There's no way we are going to catch up to them. From week 1 to week 2, I was able to retain 13 of the 22 that we went after. Of course, that was all blind because the market just opens, right? So immediately, some of them were either out of reach or really just not worth going after when comparing them to other options. Then I also narrowed down a couple of my initial list. I still had 18 on there, but I only had, 7 outstanding offers. Regardless of what is available on the market, some of those guys just weren't going to be necessary. Now I only have 9 scholarships left to give out, and I have 9 spots that need to be filled. So breaking that one down, I need 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 offensive linemen, 1 defensive lineman, 1 linebacker, 1 cornerback, and 1 safety. And based on especially the high school options, where there's quite a few guys that have no other offers out there, I'm not 100% confident, but I'm fairly confident, probably 75%, that we should be able to fill each of those positions in theory, and that we'll get our 9. And setting limits on those isn't necessarily going to be a bad thing, and that it'll fill out the roster the way we need to. There is a chance that one of those positions will end up going unfilled. Let's say I get 1 offensive lineman and not 2, and instead of having the next guy who was ready to commit elsewhere come through, it could possibly not pan out for us. I'm going to have to carefully reorder in the final week our targets list, and especially those high school recruits essentially going to the bottom and those transfers coming to the top, as the transfers are going to be much better than the outstanding high school recruits that there are, even though most of them will come in a little bit older. For one thing, some of those high school recruits are junior college transfers anyway. The quality, even though it's only a couple of years, the guys will be so much better than what we have that are out there. So I might bump them to the top. Well, I almost certainly will bump them to the top of the list. But as things stand right now, and it again can change in the final week, there's three running back and wide receiver targets, a single tight end target, 6 offensive linemen, 7 D-line, 6 linebackers, 8 corners, and 6 safeties. The corners and the safeties were, as I trimmed things down from last week to this week and then went into the market, that was kind of the place where it was like, yeah, no, I need better in those positions. A lot more offers came in through the second session, and so before concluding this third session, I still have a lot of work to do, but I've already taken 14 down off of my targets list going, there's no way we're going to sign these guys. They're massively out of reach. Now, I did extend offers to a lot of those players. Not all of them, but a lot of those 14. So I only have 8 offers left to send out, as I didn't go crazy in the high school market. And that's freed me up to really get after some of these high school recruits, or transfer targets, that is. But the difficulty is just competing with everybody else to get them. Even if we get even just a couple of them or a few of them, it's going to be a huge win for us, a big plus. But I only have 8 offers left to give out, so I'm not going to be filling out and going for another 14. And I might need to extend an offer within the grouping that I have right now, but I'm going to go ahead and see what I can find recruit-wise that's out there that doesn't have offers, that's not getting targeted, that might be able to help us in a positive way. And I've really cleaned out a couple of the positions right now. Like, there's 0 tight ends left in the market. I mean, we do have one that's signing, but tight end's a really weak position for us. So I'd love to go see if I can find a good tight end. Plus, the running backs and wide receivers got thinned out drastically as well, and we have a definite need for running back. So tight ends and running back are going to be the 2 positions that I key in on. I think I'm going to take what I have left of all of these other positions, just get them ranked properly, get the offers out that I need to get out. But we'll look into running backs and tight ends, and fingers crossed there's something that we could get a decent offer to. The heading into signing day is the most stressful day in this game. This is the make or break day. This is half the recruiting class all coming down to this moment. We have 9 scholarships left to offer. I have restricted the number that can go in, but it's up to like a dozen. So there's going to be a few that don't pan out, even if I get yeses across the board, which I'm not going to get yeses across the board. But I have very carefully ordered my depth chart as for priority order list, and it will go through that as we go through. So I'll show you what we have briefly. But we have used all 50 offers, but we're down to 21 targets, and 19 of those have an offer. So there's 19 realistic targets for 12 spots, for 9 spots, some of which we'll get, some of which we won't. Hopefully we fill 9 spots. I mean, I would love to get enough of them for that. Outside of the 19 that are targeted, 2 of those, I have no idea if there's a walk-on situation or not, but there's 2 of those that I've still kept around on the list, didn't delete, where I still have interest. If we got nobody else, I'd have interest in them coming to us, but I don't have offers to extend to them any further. But we have 9 that are signed, plus the 19, so 28. That means there's 22 additional out there that over the last 2 weeks we extended an offer, but we were very quickly way behind everybody else. So there is going to be some of that as we go through. But here is our list. We'll look at it this way. Is the easiest, cleanest way to see kind of the whole of the list in short. But a linebacker, 76 overall, A+. We're only 200 points behind. So we're going for it. 78 B, we are a ways behind, but the one we're behind is not giving them an offer. If they turn out to give one this week, then obviously we won't get them. But an 81 C, 67 A minus, 71 B plus, 69 B plus, 70 B minus. So there's a lot of quality in our top 10 or so. And then there's like a 77D down at 12 that I'd be happy to have, especially as a defensive lineman, just lacking the potential to get better. A lot of transfers, but there is a mixture of some high school or junior college guys at the top end of the list. And then the bottom end of the list is all those high school recruits that are left over, that didn't sign earlier, that are very much because either I didn't give them an offer back then, or I've given them an offer now. Now, there's a couple on this list, right, that I said are more walk-on kind of categories, and then these are those last guys that we have a maximum number of positions. They are almost certainly to say yes, all but one of the ones on this end of the list. Most of them were their only offer, were their only one that's talking to them. Like, it's us or no one. It's us or junior college for them. Those are the ones that are going to be dependent on whether we're able to sign these guys up above. Moment of truth. Now, eventually, we'll just do some quick reveals. But I can tell you already, we're going to get one big signing. We ended up the only offer that this guy got. We've got a 78 overall B potential wide receiver, redshirt sophomore, so we'll only get 2 years of eligibility, but he comes in like day one, tied for, or if not, our best wide receiver that we're going to have. So 2 years out of him is going to be fantastic. But it looks like 4 offers came in for our top target. This linebacker, 76 A+ overall. And we have a chance, but it looks like we are not going to. We did! What? We got him! 20% chance, so it said. We end up just shy of 100 points ahead of Oregon State and Washington State, and then Utah some ways further behind. We got our number one target, a 76 overall, A+ potential redshirt sophomore, so 2 years of eligibility remaining. But that is a massive coup for our team. That's number 1 of 9. There's number 2 of 9. We were well down his list, but nobody else stepped in with an offer. So that's a big wide receiver signing. What about the cornerback? Okay, his other option did. So there was about 5 options, and we were the only ones that had an offer, but somebody else came in for an offer as well. We're definitely not going to get him. That's Orlando at the top of his list. We were way behind. So not getting that, but we've already got 2. Here's another one of those mixed bag, lots of chances. Arizona State seems to be the most likely. It's a 67 A- potential D lineman, and we've got a shot, but no, it's Arizona State, 630 points behind. But already, like 2 massive steals. No matter what happens with this next group, I'm feeling pretty good. 10% chance though. This Cal guy, yeah, he's not going to go to us. Cal way ahead of us. That was those swoop in and get them, offer them that playtime. Well, Cal offers them the playtime too, and has significantly more prestige. It makes sense. Tiny chance here though. Tiny chance. Tight end. It's the only tight end target I have. 69 overall, but B+ potential. 25% chance. No, it's Memphis. 651 points behind. That was a closer chance. But hey, I mean, we got 2 of 6 big offers here. Now we've got a sequence of guys that we are going to get. 100% chance. So there's 1, and that's because no offers. No other offers coming in for them. We are the only ones. That is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we've just added a running back, a safety, an offensive lineman, loyalty high for all 3 of them, and a second safety. I did have 2 safeties potentially on my list, and they've both opted to go with us. They've been on the list for a long time. It's 3 junior college guys and 1 high school senior. So that brings us up to 6 from here. This is the last good player. So 77 overall, but he's got less potential, which is why he's down at number 11. And it looks like he's going to go to Norman. Yeah, he's going to Oklahoma, 90% chance. They come in at the last second and they take him. We're definitely not going to get this one either, as he ended up getting 3 offers on the final day. But here comes number 7, a cornerback. At this point, I'm sitting here going, well, wait, how many? I said okay to 2 safeties. I think I said okay to 1 cornerback, but we didn't get the first one we were looking at. So we'll get this one, though. There's number 7. And finally, we're into the bottom end group. So from here, almost all are going to say yes. This was the only one that was a battle. And it should have been a lot closer than 90%, but apparently, yeah, they ended up over 1,000 points ahead. We were closer than that just a couple weeks back. So we are not getting this one. It was contested. We remain at 7, but I had a backup just behind them who we will get. They were both 58s, so it's fine. And we did get the other offensive lineman that I was hoping for. So that's going to do it on offensive line positions. They are maxed out from there. I think I have one more remaining, and it should be, yeah, I think this guy, this defensive lineman. Oh, yeah, from here on out, it's actually beyond my list. So this is all the other outstanding offers that I removed where we have a less than 5% chance. So actually it's pretty clear that the last guy we offered is the last one we're getting. B overall, but just a 57 right now. So it's not good. But we're missing out on all these others. We clearly did not sign them, but we did get our 9. So we did get to 9. It did sadly come down to the last 4 spots. We're definitely that weaker group that I've sat on throughout the entire recruiting process that had very low current but high potential. I'm feeling pretty good about what we got here for our recruiting class of 18 this year. Not 25, 18, but we had less graduates, so we had less to work with, and here they are. So we've got a 76 A-plus transfer redshirt sophomore. Wow. Linebacker. We had a second linebacker. This is what we had. This is our high school recruit. This was the best I could find. A massive step up, right? Plus 14 on overall and a huge jump in potential. But we've got the quarterback. We got Cody Warren coming in. And then we've got our risk that we're going to try out junior college. So it's only going to be a couple years for this guy, but 73 overall with low potential. But the other big plus is a 67 overall B potential junior college D lineman coming in. That I'm pretty excited about. Running back, 65 B potential, cornerback, 66 B potential, and a wide receiver out of high school with loyalty, 66 B minus potential. We did a lot more direct targeting, a lot more moving off this guy and taking this guy, moving from this guy to this guy, and seeing what wasn't going to pan out and moving away from it, and saving a lot of those offers for this process, for that transfer portal. And we picked up a lot of transfers. I mean, we've got only three transfers in the end. Not as much as I thought, but I mean, 2 of them were massive coups. Funny thing is, this class feels so much bigger and better than the last class, and yet our ranking drops to 77. We were 59th in the first year. We're 77th here. Couple of reasons for that. One, we brought in 25 players last time. We brought in 18 this time. We targeted 3 stars, ignored the 2 stars. This time we went for quality. We had less in quantity, and we went for quality, and we end up with 7 2-stars and 8 3-star guys. And so overall, the rating was lower. I don't mind. This class is stronger than the last one. But despite it being stronger, it still says a lot that it's 77th. It's still a long ways from where we need to be. Prestige has dropped to 0. It was already as low as it can get, right? 1 star is as low as it can get, but we now have 0 points. In terms of NIL budget, we have $1.39 million left. We did spend a little bit of NIL money on the couple guys, but our coaching staff last year was $3.3 million. Now it's only going to cost us $2.08, as we got better deals on all 3 staff members in retaining them. Total school earnings up significantly from year 1 because of our out of conference games that we scheduled and the direction we headed with that. We're going to be bringing in a lot of money. So that's $2 million going towards that coaching staff balance. And let's break down those earnings real quick before we get into the facilities. Conference TV deal, again, $7.5 million. Our same gold and silver donors. We did not achieve the bonuses, but we do get that core, that base $12 million that they had. There is the key. Alabama, Ohio, Louisiana, there is the big payout. Now, the big question is, will I get additional money next year for Ohio State and LSU? I'm thinking probably not, and that's a 3-game deal. So we're going to have 2 more years of those rolling over. We got all of it in the first year, which I suppose is nice. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We won't have that extra $24 million next year, but we will have a new deal coming in with the Alabama being just that single game away. So we'll be able to get some money coming in still this year. But that ended up being more than half of our finances for the year. I knew the benefits of facilities and academics were both pretty good, pretty valid, but a lot of people in the comments felt that the facilities are probably a little bit stronger, where I thought maybe the academics would have been ever so slightly ahead. But really, I saw that the facilities was stronger. I just thought the short-term benefit from the academics would be more pronounced, especially with the coach experience gain bonus being a big part of that, but pushing us up a little bit higher. Anyway, it's going to cost $2 million to maintain the upgrade that we made to Tier 4 a year ago. How far off am I from Tier 5, though? I'm just curious. So it would cost me $12.5 million to get to Tier 5, which would give us a D rating for recruiting, 35% chance, and a 9% bonus. It's nice and all, but I think I want to just cover the maintenance at the moment. Let's turn our attention now to the facilities. That's the next one we want to bring up. So level 5, a 2-tier jump in facilities would still, first off, it costs us $25.5 million, but we'd be looking at significant jump up from an F to a D in recruiting, from a 1.75% chance for bonus to player development to 5.25%. The base gain for preseason is still 1. It's still the same. And then 26% for recruit camp visits, which is definitely big. Though we need 30 to start getting the reveals. But just being on the list for 1 week gives them 5. So the 5 plus the 26 would actually start getting us there. It would make scouting during preseason a lot cheaper, so we can start getting the reveals on potential a little bit sooner. Not sure we have enough to get to level 6. No, $46.5 million. That's another 21 where we have 16. So the question then becomes, do we start to take other bonuses, such as the marketing or the college life, and getting the first level out of those? But knowing the moment we do, the maintenance costs start to come with it, right? $2 million a year that we'd have to start to invest. And I still like academics. I'm going to go ahead and spend some of our money on that. We're going to bring it up to a 5th level and get that bonus for the coach experience, get that bonus for the eventuality when we are switching our boosters or adding to our boosters, and get that recruiting bonus. I'm going to go ahead and put $1 million into next year's coaching staff balance to help us out there. But for the other $5 million, we're going to dump all of it into the facilities, which will get us partway towards level 6. That's what I want, but I couldn't get to level 6 now. I might as well make progress where I can. And that's why storing some of that money away for coaching staff to make getting to level 6 next year a little bit easier, and for the academics to get that up another level, I think was probably a worthwhile deal. The stadium won't see any quality bonuses anytime soon without at least significant gains. The college life doesn't have much benefit, nor the marketing for us at this stage. So facilities and academics will continue to be our primary focus. Good year for the earnings, though. So our original level of 15 will now be a 19 plus 4. It's definitely going to help us out, but still leaves us behind everybody else. Well, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to take a little bit of a financial hit next year, as our silver donor is departing, and incoming is a bronze donor, so a little bit less quality. We'll still have our gold, I think we were at 6.5 and 5.5 million. So is he going to be 4.5? He's going to be 5. I would imagine we're going to lose roughly $1 million out of that. Our new OOC is going to be with Alabama, 13.5 million, 3-year deal, bigger than what we got for the last 2 years. So I'm happy to bring that option in. I'm not going to get into recruiting and actual preseason. So off-season gains is the last big area we're going to be taking a look at. But a +6 for our redshirt senior safety, who was already the main guy a year ago, and actually his potential took a bit of a bump from an 80 to an 86. We didn't have any of those kind of players. Now, we also had one who ended up being 90 plus in that first year, but we had 3 guys that were in 80 overall on the team a year ago, and now we have 6 for the coming year. Very disappointing that our kicker only gained 1 point with an A plus potential and now just an A potential, but right, punt accuracy is fantastic. At least we have that. His kick accuracy is pretty good as well. Durability is an F minus, but luckily he's not used that much and didn't get injured at all last year. +5's nice for a wide receiver who is a D plus potential. First junior showing up is here. Redshirt junior, now an 80 overall. The promised wide receiver that we promised to get enough targets, he'll definitely get them now with a 79 overall rating. Big gains, +5s here. We got a +4 for this guy as a tight end. That's an important position for us. Real weakness. We got a D lineman who improved pretty significantly. +4 for a linebacker. Lots of 3, 4s, and 5s down here at the bottom. There's our first 0. No gain. Redshirt senior running back who was a 70 overall. Looks like he's definitely not going to be playing. Appears to be the only 0 we have until you get down to the very, very bottom, where 2 more show up. Only going to have 150 left over on the roster for the coming year. It's a true freshman offensive lineman who came in with pretty good potential, but it's already dropped off and he gained just 2 points. Definitely gotten a lot better on that bottom line. We've got a ton more 70s than we had, and we definitely have some 80s now. I think we've made some solid progress in areas in this offseason, and of course we still have that preseason ahead of us to see some further development. This is already looking like a better roster than the one a year ago, but what are the positions? We have a safety, a corner, a wide receiver, the kicker, a linebacker, a second linebacker, kind of the next group of guys, another wide receiver, a corner, another wide receiver, a D lineman. Looks like our defense is going to be in pretty good shape, and then we've got some wide receivers that are going to be fine. And then there's our quarterback from last year returning. His potential has actually taken a step up. Quarterback IQ +8, ball security +8, durability +5. He's going to make some smarter decisions. Not the greatest improvement, but it is improvement. A 77 as a senior shouldn't be too bad. Positionally, though, quarterbacks across the board did not improve much, and actually we saw a big drop in potential. All of them now a B. At the running back position, we've got 2 guys jumping to a 76 overall. That's the best we've ever had. We had a 73 each of the first 2 seasons at running back. Not the strongest we've been at wide receiver, likewise with the quarterback position, but both positions are definitely going to be bigger, better, stronger than a year ago, and we have a lot more depth than we had in either of the first 2 years. Tight end, very much the strongest we've seen it. Each of the first 2 years, we've been a 70 or a 71 at tight end. Offensive line, problem area. Big problem area. A lot more depth. We had one outstanding lineman who was a senior the first year, 90 plus. Then we had one that was really good at mid 80s. And then all of a sudden we were down to like a 75 for our third guy. Something like that. Both those first 2 were seniors. They were gone. That was part of the reason why last year we couldn't do anything with the ball, as low 70s was all we could muster, and that dropped off. There was definitely not 5 of them. Now we have well more than 5 guys that are +70. Our top end's definitely better than a year ago, but we are still nowhere near what we had in year number 1. Just that difference being kind of the 3, 4, 5 area, I think, is pretty close to what we had for year 1 or better than what we had for year one. Kicker is something we're going to need to address this offseason. We've got a senior here who didn't improve much, and his backup is not coming along very quickly. He'll do. He'd be okay. I'd love to cut this guy if we can find a couple of kickers. Defensive line, we had one decent player returning. We did have, I think, one decent senior that graduated, but we were fairly weak here a year ago. We're a lot stronger now, though. We don't have the depth yet, but we've got 4 guys that are 70 plus. Linebacker, I think we graduated 1 or 2 good ones, but we've got guys that are better in their place. We've got 2 that are an 80 overall, and then we also have better depth behind them. Linebacker is definitely the strongest that it's been in 3 years. Cornerback, strongest that it's been in 3 years. We have our first guy in the mid-80s and some decent depth behind him. Safety, year one, I think we had a guy that's similar level to what we have now, but we definitely have some better depth behind him than what we had back then. So I'd say offensively, we still haven't beaten the year one group, but much better than the year 2 group. Defensively, this is probably the best we've been. We had a lot of graduates that first year, but they weren't great defensively. Offensively, they were a lot stronger. So the couple of good defenders, we now have a few pretty strong defenders for this year. So I think we're probably similar to where we were year one, but with a lot more depth than where we were year one, and definitely stronger than year 2. So everything looks better than a year ago. We're headed the right direction. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Again, year 3, I still think we're going to be well off the pace, though. We're going to be more competitive than we were in year 2, for sure. But I'm not even sure we're going to be better than what year 1 looked like, which was a little bit weaker than everybody else. There was a reason why we were 0-12, but we were competitive more often. I think we'll be that competitive more often again this year, and we're still relatively young. There's not that many seniors here. I think we've got ourselves going in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work to do. But we do have that preseason ahead of us, and that could give us an edge on this being our strongest year yet. Is it good enough to win a game? We'll find out. I'll settle for competitive. That's going to do it for this one, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.